Good morning. I just wanted to check in this morning and talk a little bit about grief. When our daughter passed away, obviously the initial grief is so strong and you don't really know how to get through. I often say it's not day by day, it's really moment by moment, minute by minute. If I can get through this, then I'll worry about the next moment. If I can get through this event or thing, that this obligation, then I can worry about the next one. And then another friend of mine who had also lost a child had written an article about grief as a 6 month old and how you hold grief differently at 6 months than you do at when you first encounter grief. And it was so helpful for me to think about that and to know that while our loved ones never leave us, they're always in our hearts, they're always in our memories. Grief does change as you move through it. And so there were times my dear friend Sarah would come over, and my grief was about toddler stage probably when we met. And sometimes it was a very demanding toddler, and other times it was just present. And my friend Sarah was just so great at being there for me regardless of how my grief presented while she was there. And we did life together. We did so much life together through a number of years. Our children were the same age and were best friends. And so I say all of that to say that today marks 1 year that my friend Sarah lost her brother and his wife and their two daughters in a tragic plane accident in DC, along with many other families who lost loved ones that day. And so we've been talking a lot about what a year looks like, what grief looks like at a year old. And while it can be a relief to get through the firsts, the anniversaries, the birthdays, the holidays, and that kind of thing, it doesn't mean that grief just magically vanishes. And that sometimes it's it does change in the way you interact with it and the way it demands your space and time and attention. But just like my 17-year-old son is still here with me, and I don't hold him the same way as I did when he was a baby or a toddler or a young boy. My daughter who has passed is also still here with me, and in memory and love and tears and joy. And so just to bring awareness to friends who are going through deep grief, tragedy, to reach out to them. There's no magic moment when things change. I know, many parents say, "Oh, they grow up too fast for our children. Like, I'm not ready for this next phase." And that can feel true in grief. Or, "Oh my goodness, this is a really hard phase. I can't wait to get out of this phase." That can also feel true in grief. I know a lot of times when we first encounter grief, we long for space between us and what happened, that point of grief, that tragic moment, that loss. And then as that space happens, you can desperately try to close that space because you feel like you're losing something that was so loved and so important and so valued. And so, just a reminder as you yourself might be encountering grief, or loved ones or friends, to be patient and to be loving and to remember. And as I told my friend Sarah this morning, and I've said often, for the first 10 years, I felt like I was a sad person who sometimes encountered joy and laughter. And now I can say I'm a joyful person who remembers my daughter with tears and sadness, but also with joy and smiles and love and memories. So, but for 10 years, I really felt like a sad person who would have joy for sure, but just was still felt very heavy inside. And there's no perfect time frame or written time frame or code for when that happens for each person. But just be mindful of people who are going through deep grief. If that's you, reach out. Reach out to somebody and let them know where you're at, because it can be years later and you come up on this hard place that you just need to talk to someone about or walk through with someone. And it can also be very recent and you just need somebody to hold space for you. So, for everyone today, specifically, who, like my friend Sarah, is facing this incredible, difficult anniversary, this 1 year mark of the plane crash that took your loved ones, I'm holding space for you. I'll be lighting a candle in remembrance of your loved ones. And I just want you to know that there are people out there who are remembering with you. And then for others, sometimes when there's big events like this, people remember more quickly than I know simultaneously there are any number of 1 year anniversaries happening today of grief that the world never knew about. And so just know that regardless of whether I know about it or uh, or not, I care, we care, there are people who care.